Thanks for tuning in to a Saturday morning edition of Pigskin Fridays Picks. That's right. We're doing this on game day for Saturday, week 11 in college football. Of course, Sunday will kick off. Actually, we've already had one game in the books, if you call that a game, on Thursday night in the NFL for week number 10. And we'll have, of course, a game in Germany on Sunday morning between Atlanta and Indianapolis. That's a game that we're going to talk about right here in just a little bit, including the Patriots, Bucks, Arizona, Seattle. And then we'll turn our attention to college football and a lot to talk about there as well. Mark Lawrence, of course, joining us once again from playbooksports.com. Mark, how's it going?
I'm doing just terrific, Greg. I'm looking forward to doing Proline TV game day.
Yeah,
on Saturday. Nice.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't think we're gonna get a lot of live viewers, but we'll see how the traffic goes during the course of the weekend. Because again, we're going to be talking about NFL football, of course, as well. Sure. So this is a relevant podcast. A little late, but this was better than not at all. Yes. And hopefully, we'll be joined by Jim Feist soon, because it's actually 6:17 in the morning Vegas time. So. We're willing to give Jim the benefit of the doubt if he's a few minutes late.
Well, God bless him if he joins us. I hope he does.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk a little NFL, just in case Jim does. And let's first of all, I guess, what was your reaction to that Thursday game? Because, I mean, we've been saying this all season that even though the Broncos are not like the Eagles, where they don't win the yardage battle, that's one thing. But the other thing is just the visual, is that all season long, the Broncos have just not looked right, offensively at least. I mean, Bo Nix has just not really looked like the player he was last year. Maybe that's all that rookie jinx kind of deal we're seeing in his second year. And, I mean, he's not exactly playing at the level we thought he would play at as a second-year player under Sean Payton. But they're still winning football games.
They are. And, I think that's all Sean Payton is concerned about. He's not as worried as we are about the lack of productivity from this Denver offense. I mean, my goodness, 18 and 10 points their last two games, 273 and 220 total yards. Those are both usually losses for teams in the National Football League. Maybe, just maybe, we can excuse them because they have Kansas City on deck next week, but you're still not supposed to look past a division opponent.
No, not at all. They allowed that game to be a little bit too close, and they did get away with it. And yeah, I mean, they only gave up 188 yards of offense.
Yep.
So the defense did their job, but there were 22 penalties in the game.
Wow.
Yeah. Not a aesthetically
sloppy. Yep.
Yeah. Not good. But so Denver just keeps on winning, and so they put pressure on their fellow brethren in the conference, in the division, specifically the LA Chargers. With Chiefs have this week off.
Chiefs have this week off, yes.
Yeah. So how many more weeks do we have of bye weeks? When does that end?
That's a good question here. Let me look. I get my stat and logbook out here because it lays the whole schedule out for us week by week, and I can look forward and see exactly who's on the bye weeks. We're going to find out next week in the National Football League. Two teams, Indianapolis and New Orleans. The week after, 4 teams.
Only 2 teams?
Only 2 teams.
Oh.
The week after, 4 teams, Denver, Miami, Chargers, and Washington. And that will do it. Okay. So
2 more weeks.
Yeah, 2 more weeks, right.
And how many more weeks do we have for these European games?
I think we're probably down to pretty much
a couple more weeks, because Spain's next week. That's the Washington-Miami game.
They did something funky where they kind of kicked some of these European games out to the middle portion of the season as opposed to the earlier part. But I don't know if this is the last one in Germany or not. But I will be tuned into this game if for no other reason. I absolutely love the fact when this crowd in Germany starts singing "Take Me Home, Country Roads."
Oh, okay.
In unison. I mean, these are Germans singing an American country and Western song, okay?
So they only have one a year in Berlin, is that correct? And that's
this is really actually the first time in Berlin. Oh. They played in other cities there, but not Berlin. This is the very first game in Berlin in Germany.
Wow.
Yep.
Berlin.
Berlin.
Where I think that some people that are alive today that never would have thought that would be the case, that we'd be playing an NFL game in Berlin.
Oh,
there are still old, it's, I mean, I know I'm getting up there in age for people who would actually remember or feel that way, but there are still a few people alive that would still be wondering about how in the world did that happen. But that just shows you how time can change in one lifetime.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
Good for Germany. Okay. So yeah, it looks like Spain is the final game on the international series next week. And the game will also be at 9:30 Eastern time. So I'm a little bit surprised. I thought, where is Spain? So Spain is more like that. That's right. Spain is like a time difference. They're all the way out there. Okay.
Yeah, well, they're on the Atlantic Ocean, right?
Okay.
Side of things. Germany's inside of Europe.
All right. Now, Jim looks like he's in the Atlantic Ocean right now. He's got the I don't know what that is. Is that a darkness? Is that a fog? What do you got going on there, Jim?
Good question.
This is right. See, this is Jim at 6:30 in the morning, fellas.
I don't know. I don't know why that looks like that.
Are your lights on? Your video lights?
Well, I got the big the lights that you told me about.
Oh, you got the regular lights on you always have on?
Yeah.
That's all right. That's all right, Jim.
It is still dark here.
It is.
Yeah, hold on a minute.
Turn the room light on, Jim.
Is it dark outside?
A little bit.
Okay. Yeah, it's not usually dark outside when we talk to Jim, but
there you go.
Oh yeah, that's better. The regular lights.
Oh, okay.
Well, at least we won't hear the dogs, right? They're not going to bark at this early stages in the morning, or will they?
They're actually out for a walk.
Oh.
They're walking.
By themselves, or?
No, well, no.
They're not that obedient.
No, they don't go by themselves. They're with Roz.
Yeah, it's early everywhere. Okay, so let's. I guess I'll get your opinion too, Jim, because we were just buying some time for you to come on and talking about that. Well, we didn't talk a whole lot about the Thursday game, but that was a pretty nightmarish scene. I hope you didn't watch a lot of it.
Well, I watch all the games. Sometimes I even watch them twice, but not that one. Denver is a very overrated team. They have talent on the defensive side, and they got some on the offensive side, but Bo Nix is not developed. There's a lot of second-year regression there on him.
Yep.
I'm sorry, but I picked them to win that division. It's not going to happen.
Well, they're up by 2 games, though.
Yeah, but it's not going to happen.
But they're backpedaling is what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're going to be destroyed this next week.
Chiefs. Where is the game?
I don't care where it is. They can put it on the moon.
Well, actually, it's in Denver. All right. What do you think the line will be?
It don't matter.
I know. I'm just asking you. What do you think the line will be? Denver will be favorite?
I think after the 2 performances, they may not be, Jim.
They got an 8-2 record, but and they have a 2-game lead. But I think all the sharps are going to make Kansas City the favorite.
I think so.
Yeah, well, they were just favored against Buffalo, so you would hope, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. They should be.
It should be. I'd say Kansas City should probably be 2 or 3. But power ratings are not going to show that. But I'd say the pros are going to make Kansas City 2 or 3.
Okay. Let's now get to talk about these games, starting with the Germany game, the Berlin game. Jim, in your lifetime, did you ever believe that we would be playing when you were a kid, a little toddler, running around? Did you ever think that we'd be playing an NFL game in Berlin?
I never thought about it. I was actually born at 21 years old. I was never a toddler.
Oh, wow. You were lucky.
Very advanced.
Artificial insemination.
Very advanced.
Okay. Very nice. That makes sense with your story. All right. So let's talk about this game, Atlanta and the Colts in Germany. And you have a Atlanta team that all of a sudden they get that big win against the Bills on prime time. And ever since then, they've gone backwards. They are already now 2 games under 500. So there'll be 3 games under 500 if they lose this game. Keep this in mind, though. When I said this, the same thing, we referenced this with the Baltimore game with Minnesota, that even if, let's say Baltimore loses to Minnesota, the schedule, they're going to be heavy favorites the next 3 games. So even if they lose on Sunday, they'll be 6-6 in 3 weeks. And the same thing could be the case for Atlanta. They're going to be hosting Carolina, at New Orleans, and at the Jets. So even if they lose this game, Falcons can get right. But the fact is they have been struggling. They've got to start at least looking more competitive. I know they came back to make it a game against the Patriots before they missed the extra point. Indianapolis, meanwhile, Jim, they are still at a very solid 7-2 after their worst performance of the season. The first time they laid an egg, turning the ball over, which really just cost them every which way that you could cost a game when you turn the ball over when you're the better team.
So what's the question?
What do you think about the matchup?
Well, obviously Indianapolis is the better team. I like the better coach. I like the running game. I like the offensive line. However, anytime you're laying a full touchdown, and I've seen 7s pop up on this thing in a foreign place, you would expect them to bounce back. But Atlanta, played pretty well against the Patriots too. So that's a team that really should be performing better than they are. And I kind of put it on the coaches. I don't think they're using their talent, especially their running game, as well as they should. And we do know Penix is also a young kid. He hasn't developed yet either. And so anything's possible here. It's a very difficult game to handicap. If I saw 7, which I did see 7, and I took 7, but it was only a number play. I just thought it was too high. Not that I like it. I'm not really high on it, but I like the 7.
I agree with Jim. I would take the 7 points in this football game in a heartbeat. Just 7's a rock solid number. You have a team in Atlanta that's scratching and clawing and needs this game like blood. The Colts, the 6 big turnovers last week, sort of exposed the football team. But I found a new word to describe the Colts, Jim, and I've been crying about, what I think is a little bit phony about the football team, even though they're winning games big, yada, yada, yada. I call them the otherworldly Colts because they're doing things that are out of this world this football season here. And the question is, can they continue to keep doing so? I think this is a huge game for the Atlanta Falcons. I know the Colts want to rebound, but they're in the better position right now. And I think the Falcons, like I say, come a little bit harder to this game, especially taking 7 points.
I mean, you think when we know that when there's teams that need to win, does that mean they will win? Is it too much pressure when they need to win like this?
Well, that's a great question. Need to win, have to win are 2 different things. But, sometimes if you put yourself in the position where you need to win, you're probably not a very good football team.
That's true.
So you have to deal with, who you're taking to the dance there. And that would be the Atlanta Falcons, who are struggling right now, unquestionably. But I got to say, their defense is still holding strong for Atlanta. And if Michael Penix can come alive here, he's got the capability of doing just that. There's nothing wrong with this Atlanta defense. I mean, I think the most points, they haven't allowed 350 yards in any game this year. They played really, really well defensively. Do you have any problem? Do you have any problem with the head coach or the offensive coordinator with this team? Raheem Morris?
Yeah.
He's always been a defensive kind of a guy. In my database tells me the best role he's in is this role here in non-division games. When his team owns a losing record, he's 9-1 to the spread, losing record non-division opponent. So he's in his best role this particular week. But is he the coach to take them to the Super Bowl? I don't know. I don't think the offensive savvy isn't there for him. He's got a quarterback that's willing to burst out and be that quarterback. But we haven't seen it the last 3 games. They've all been sub 300-yard offenses. Penix wasn't there for one of them. So is he the coach to take them there? I agree with the Jim. I don't know that. I know he's widely respected in the National Football League, largely because of the defensive prowess. But Super Bowl's another matter.
How about the use of their running game? Don't they? I mean, they have some good running talent, but it doesn't seem like they use it well.
No, and when you check all the boxes and you're doing all the stuff for running, Atlanta does pop up. Largely Bijan Robinson, much better first portion of the football season here of late, but he is arguably, you can say this whether you like him or not, he could be the best running back in the National Football League.
Absolutely.
And
he should be. He could be a 2,000-yard back. That's how good he is.
So what the hell are they doing with him?
Well, that's the problem, is that the offensive coordinator, Zach Robinson, who came over from the Rams last year, he's one of those McVay disciples, and not every disciple from these expert head coaches pan out, and he has not been panning out. I know there are a lot of Falcon fans who are very confused about his offensive scheme. Doesn't seem like he has an idea about exactly what kind of patterns these guys are running, what kind of offense. So, yeah, if this team decides, and they do, Blank is a very patient owner. And if he gives Morris another year, Zach Robinson will not be here. There's no way, because the offense is really what's letting him down. And you want to know something also that works in the Atlanta Falcons' favor is right here. Now, Ebukan's been out already for a while, and he's one of their top edge rushers. Ward has been out for a while with a concussion. Now their best defensive player is on IR, DeForest Buckner. So you take out Ebukan, Buckner, Ward, Sauce Gardner just is coming in. He's got who knows where his head's going to be with all the travel and the new team and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure they're just going to say, hey, stick on this guy and make it easy for you. But still, this is the perfect time, I think, to go against the Colts and maybe even take Atlanta in the money line. If you're ever going to go against the Colts, do it after a loss, because they haven't had many of them, and this is a feeling that they're not used to, and maybe this is the perfect time to especially since they're going over internationally as well.
Would we be saying the same thing if this line were 3 rather than 7 about fading the Colts?
I wouldn't be, no.
Yeah, it's like taking advantage. Why not? You're giving us a big money line at plus 240, so let's take it.
I prefer. I feel more comfortable with the 7.
I would too.
Okay, let's move on to the next game. And you know what? Too, I want to check this Colts schedule out. Okay, so this is what the Colts schedule is going to look like after they have the bye week. At Kansas City, Houston at home, at Jacksonville, Seattle on the road. So that's 3 out of 4 on the road after the bye. San Francisco and Jacksonville and Houston. So they basically get the 2 toughest teams or rivals in their division, and they got to play them twice each. And then they got San Francisco, Kansas City, and Seattle. So they're going to have some really tough games coming up. No easy ones for the Colts. Not one easy one for the Colts after the bye week. So
4 of their 7 games do feature those division teams they're playing. So those will be critical games. If anybody that's behind them looking up at them, they know that they have a chance to close that gap because they're going to be tackling the Colts a lot coming forward here from December on out. So the Colts are going to decide their own fate. There's no question about that. And, I'd sure love to see a little better defensive intensity coming from the Colts. Now, they had protected the ball real well. They had 6 turnovers last week. That was kind of out of the box, if you will. But in this game, Atlanta's a really good turnover net margin team. They're plus a half a turnover to the good. I think that ranks number 8 in the National Football League. So you don't expect Atlanta to beat themselves. The question is, can the Colts play better this week than they did last? And they're going to have to. They cannot turn the ball over 6 times.
Shout out to one of our viewers, Double Aces Around. Great shows on this channel, guys. Very much appreciated. All the good info. Keep up the good work. So
nice.
Thank you, Double Aces Around. I think this is the first time he's made a comment that I can recall.
Yes, thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, let's get to the second game. And this is a good one. One of the best ones of the week, actually. And that's Tampa Bay hosting New England.
Well, thank God. I thought you were going to talk about Cleveland and the Jets.
Oh, God I wish we could have.
because it's right on the schedule there. I thought that's where you're going to go.
Sorry to disappoint you, Jim.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to talk about this crappy game. The Bucks and the Patriots. The same line, by the way, too. Bucks are 2.5-point favorites against the Patriots. I'm actually a little bit surprised that the line's only 2.5. I know Tampa Bay has some injuries, but keep in mind they've had injuries pretty much all season, and they're still winning games. They're still beating teams, good teams, and that's why and they're coming off a bye, so they're healthier than they were. Now, look, there's still no Bucky Irving or Godwin. We understand Evans isn't around. But look, this team just they had the one bad flat game against the Lions. And I think both teams didn't play really good in that game. Maybe that was a precursor to the fact that Detroit was beaten by Minnesota the very next game. But now you've got this New England team red hot. They're coming in on a big winning streak, Mark. They're also 2-0 straight up and against the spread as a road dog this year. But there's also some injury concerns on the Patriots side. Keep an eye on the fact that one of their top young receivers, Booty, may not play. Running back Stevenson may not play. And their top cornerback, Christian Gonzalez, is banged up. We'll see if we have any updated reports after Friday before we're done breaking this one down. What do you think, Mark? 7-2 Patriots, 6-2 Bucks in Tampa.
Well, if you put, this is what I call another tape job. If you put tape over the names of these two football teams, you'd think that the New England Patriots would be the favorite in the contest, at least from a statistical perspective. Tampa Bay has been outgained 5 of their 8 games this football season, 4 in a row. They needed the bye week like a vampire needs blood. That's going to serve them well, obviously somewhere down the road, but they have got to do a better job statistically. If it weren't for Baker Mayfield's fourth quarter comebacks, this game we wouldn't be talking about it because it wouldn't be a marquee game. But it is Baker Mayfield and it is Tampa Bay. I love the fade teams that are leaking oil, as Tampa is, 4 straight in the spread, in the stats of losses in this football contest. But in New England, you've got a football team here that people are maybe saying, it's Mike Vrabel, and is the good times over? Are they over here right now? And to that, I say no. They come in here with the better offense and the better defense, and they're taking points against an injured, beat-up, banged-up Bucs team that I think is very fortuitous this football season here. I would even go so far as to say the wrong team is favored, but I know the odds maker can never favor New England at Tampa. But I like New England plus the points here. To me, they are much the better team.
Well, I don't know about much the better team, but I do agree they have not played a healthy game yet this year. They've been banged up all season long. But they do have the bye week. They did heal up a little bit. The players that are going to play are less banged up, less hurt, less sore. New England is riding high. And, I'm just going to disagree because I think Tampa is in a spot where they need to turn it around. They're a quality team. Now, the other thing about this is their defense is going to put some moves on in this game that Drake May has not seen before. And he's still a young guy. He's playing great, don't get me wrong. But he's going to see some moves on defense from the Tampa Bay that's going to confuse him quite a bit. I believe that. I think this is a tough spot for New England. Even though they're an underdog, I think it's a tough spot for them. I think Tampa Bay on the money line is my play.
And one quick question before Greg takes us over here, Jim. This line's 2.5. If it were 3.5, would you be making the same decision when it crossed over to 3.5?
Well, since I'm not laying the points, it probably wouldn't make a difference.
I understand. Okay.
But I do agree with your point of view, though. You have the better team on a roll against and a healthier team on a roll. I'll say it again. Well coached. Everything would point to New England. However, the game opened 1.5. It went to 2.5. It's 2.5 minus 16, 14. There's money on Tampa for a reason, and that's not play money. That's real money. So sometimes I like the market to make my choices because the guys that are making those moves are seeing what I'm seeing. That this is a spot where Tampa Bay needs to get better. They need to get well. So we talked about how Atlanta and how New England or how Indianapolis need a game. Well, in some ways, Tampa needs this game because they're in a race with Atlanta and they're falling. They're having no good games lately. I mean, like you said, the last few games have been outstatted. So they need to get it right, and they had a whole week to think about it and plan for this. And they got a good defensive coach, head coach. And we still do have a young quarterback on the road. And the money moves tell me there's something going on. There's quality opposition to the Patriots in this game. So I'm going to stick with that. A money line on Tampa.
Yeah, the thing that I'm looking at, a few things. First of all, as you said, Jim, there is no doubt in my mind that Tampa Bay needs this game more. And what I mean by that is that I think after the bye, they understand how important these games are. Whereas the Patriots, it's nice that they're 7-2. They're flying high. Their confidence is just off the charts. They're having fun. It's a great season. But I'm not sure they really thought they'd be 7-2. I think that everything right now is milk. I mean, it's gravy. And I think that they're going to end up in the playoffs. They've got a great future. But Tampa Bay in their next couple of games will be at Buffalo and the Rams. They have some serious winning to do. They have got to get some wins here. The Patriots next up will play the Jets on Thursday night, Cincinnati and the Giants. Patriots are in no rush, no hurry. I also think they're overdue for a loss. I don't think they're this good. I mean, look at their schedule. They had the big win against the Bills. Then they played the Saints, the Titans, the Browns, and they almost lost the game to Atlanta after they had a big lead. And Atlanta, of course, as we know, has been struggling. So this is a jump up now. This is probably, I don't even think it's, look at their schedule. Look, Las Vegas and Miami also, with Carolina also. So they lost to Pittsburgh, one of the only other good teams they played on their schedule. So they're 1-1 against good teams.
If you call Pittsburgh a good team.
If you call Pittsburgh a good team. Yes, correct. I agree with you on that. So they had the one big win against the Bills and they earned it. They deserved it. That was a great win. And it probably spurned this big winning streak. But now they're playing a really good team on the road again, desperate for a win. I think it's going to be a real tough ask. I will say this, though. If you're a Patriot guy and you've been picking them and you're on this run, just keep picking them. I have no problem with that. But if you're not on this Patriot run, if you haven't taken them while they've won whatever, 6 straight up and against the spread, I wouldn't jump on them right now.
Well, there's an adage here. Sorry, Jim, before I turn this over to you, an adage that applies in this football game, and it's basically we know they beat a lot of slop bucket teams. Okay, very, very super soft schedule. But to use the Bill Parcells analogy, you beat who's in front of you.
Sure. And
that's all they're doing. It's not to their fault that the schedule has fallen the way that it's fallen. They just beat whoever's in front of them. So that's, I think, the philosophy that they take onto the field.
If you come down to looking at who's going to get in the playoffs, and I think that's where everybody is thinking now because there's only 8 games left in the regular season. Tampa Bay could be in trouble if Atlanta woke up. That could be because they wouldn't make it as a wild card if they would end up losing the division. Where the Patriots just might make it even if they lost the division. And they may not lose the division. So I think it's more critical. Not that this, like I said before, if you need to win, doesn't mean you're going to win. It means, like you said, Mark, it means you're not a very good team. Well, at least in this case, they're not a very healthy team. And they lost Evans for the season. They got Godwin's out. The running back, they've got a lot of problems. They haven't been healthy all year. This might be the healthiest they'll be the rest of the way because they've had a week to rest up.
Yeah, there's only one other player. Well, Hassan Reddick did go. It won't play, so that is one other guy that will be back at some point next couple of weeks. But for the most part, most of the other players that are injured are either out for the year. They're not getting back. The only player they're getting back is their offensive lineman, Luke Gedeke. and he's close to returning. He's been limited in practice. He's been out a while. I'm not sure if he's going to play this week, but he's close, and that's it. There's nobody else coming because McMillan, the wide receivers, he's not coming back. That's a serious neck injury he sustained. He's not coming back. So, and look, they didn't make any deals at the deadline, so they're going all in with the team that they have now. And I got to believe that, the way that it is at this point, they're probably saying, hey, with all these injuries, why go all in? We're built for the next several years with Baker. I'm not going to ruin our draft or anything like that with some rash moves at the deadline. So we'll see what happens. Should be a good game, though. Looking forward to it. And Christian Gonzalez looks like he will play for the Patriots, but both Booty and Stevenson are out for New England. Okay, and then we're going to wrap it up with our NFL side by talking about another big game coming up on the West Coast, and this one is Arizona and the hot Seattle Seahawks. This will be a 4:00 start on Sunday. Seattle coming off the big convincing win over Washington. And, we didn't even have a chance to talk about the stupid decision by Dan Quinn to keep Jaden Daniels in the game late in the blowout loss. And the thing is this, is we see this a lot. And a lot of times I'm sitting there and I'm watching these situations where it's late in games and there are really big, important players still out there. And 90% of the time, maybe 95% of the time, they get away with it, which is the reason they keep doing it. But there's no reason to do it. Because these situations, that 5% time is to come up and bite you in the ass like it did in Sunday night. No reason in the world. And now they might have lost Jaden Daniels for the season to have him out there late in the fourth quarter. That was absolutely, that was a fireable offense if you were a head coach that was teetering. Dan Quinn's not, but that's how stupid that decision was.
Jim?
Well, fortunately, the report came back that he's not as hurt as they thought he was. That's good. So he probably will come back. He might miss a couple of weeks, but by then, this team may be toast anyway as far as going anywhere this year. But I've seen that, like you said, Greg, coaches do this all the time. If you see it in basketball, or up 40 points, they still got the starters on the floor.
Every sport, yep.
I never understood. It doesn't make any sense. You got those other guys on the bench. Use them. You give them some playing time. Save the other guys. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know. I've never been on a team that like this where the coach made those decisions. I played individual sports, but I don't get it. Maybe it's a mentality that you just can't. Oh, you can't put the big guy on the bench unless he wants to go on. I don't know. I just don't know.
Okay, so. Mark, do you have anything on it? Or?
Yeah, I think this is a really attractive side for Arizona to me personally. There's a lot of scheduling dynamics that come into place here. There's a lot of the way they played the game this season comes into place as well. It's well documented how good Seattle has been on the road under Mike Macdonald. 11-1 straight up. Are you kidding me? 8-3-1 to the number, but at home it's almost reverse. At home he's 5-8 straight up and 4-8-1 to the spread. So they played much better, obviously, on the road than they have at home. They're bringing in an Arizona football team that has played much better than their record indicates. Every game they played has been a one-score game, other than the last one, which they won convincingly when they took out Dallas, beat them straight up by 10 as a 3-point dog. Arizona has this propensity to keep games close to the vest. And Kyler Murray won't be here again this week, and I don't think that's going to hurt this team one lick or one iota. Jacoby Brissett's been playing really well. He knows his role. He does it well, and he does it for a certain period of time. You've seen him, so many stops he's made as a backup quarterback. He'll come off the bench. He'll rally the team around him. They'll be good. They're starting to get – then all of a sudden they turn backwards. They're not ready to turn backwards here. Brissett's playing well. I think Arizona is a revitalized football team here right now. They came off their bye. They got their win. Now they need to take care of business. I like Arizona in the upset here.
Whoa, the upset. 250 on the money line, give or take, Jim. What do you think?
Well, I love Mark's analysis because I'm on the same side, except I I'm not taking the money line. I'm taking the 7 points that I got with it. Seattle's been dynamite, and they added Shaheed, which is going to really stretch the field. That's going to make them, along with Darnold and SGN, unbelievable to stop. But Arizona made a big move. Brissett's the starter. By the way, Murray is on IR, so you're not going to see him for at least 4 games. And I predict unless Brissett either collapses performance-wise or gets hurt, that Murray will never play another game for the Cardinals. Arizona's a better team with Brissett, and he's really developed over the years. Now, people do improve or, devolve over the years, and he really is solid. He's a bigger guy. He's solid. He's more consistent. It's not so spastic as when you have Murray in there. I think Arizona's going to cover this game, and like Mark said, they might upset him, but I took the 7 with them. I'm not downgrading Seattle in any way, shape, or form. As a matter of fact, I think they're more dangerous with Shaheed, but this is a great spot it's a revenge spot, right, Mark?
Well, yeah. Yes, it is.
Yeah. So you add that to it. I think Arizona's in a great – this Western division is brutal. I mean, all 4 of these teams could still come out on top, although the Rams look like they're the best at the moment, just slightly above Seattle. The other 2, unless the Rams lose to San Francisco, which they're in a revenge situation also, this is a very difficult division.
I think Arizona's the type of team inside that division, Jim, that neither of the other 3 are going to want to play.
Agree. Now, I would like to see them have their running game more solid because they lost their top 2 runners.
Right.
And that definitely didn't help. That's for sure.
I'll throw a nice, neat little trend at you here about Seattle. The last 13 times that they've come off back-to-back wins and they face an opponent off a win, they're 3-10 straight up and 1-12 to the spread.
Wow.
So that's a nice little team trend, if you will, fading Seattle. I don't bet team trends, but I like it when they come to my side.
Hey, they're talking about a trend. I mean, I don't know if this is a trend or not, but there used to be the 12th man in Seattle, and they were dynamite at home.
Yes, they were.
And now it's the opposite.
Yep.
I don't get it.
Well, they're getting better though. I mean, this year, after their early season, especially the loss to open the season, they're slowly becoming a better team overall, winning games at home. So yeah, this is, I think by the end of the season, we are going to see the best Seattle team that we've seen since those days, since the old days, Legion of Boom, all of that. McDonald's done a tremendous job on the defense. The defense is, I mean, you got one of the better defenses in the league matched up with red hot Sam Darnold. You got 2 quality backs. They just added another receiver to that receiving core that has Smith and Jigba, one of the fine, young, exciting receivers in the game. So everything is going great for Seattle. I was really close to taking Arizona in this one as well. They're 9-1 against the spread as a road dog, and they're 3-0 this year in that role. All of that sounds to me like 4-quarter game. I still think Seattle wins. Arizona covers, but I'm taking Seattle because I do not like these 3 injuries for Arizona on defense. These guys have been playing all season and will not play on Sunday. They're 2 top corners and their leading tackler all out. So that to me is too much to ask. I also look at the fact that Jacoby Brissett had the big win. I think it's hard for a quarterback like that to follow up with another big win. That's why Jacoby Brissett's not a starter. He's a backup. And I'm going to go ahead and take Seattle to win and cover. But I completely 100% understand what both of you guys are coming from here with Arizona.
Cool.
Well, it's interesting points for sure. Now, there's a couple other games we're not going to talk about. We don't have time, but I mean, there's not real big favorites this week. There's some competitive lines. I mean, the Rams, San Francisco, Pittsburgh Chargers, Philadelphia, Green Bay. They're all super interesting games. And I for one like to know how the hell the Chargers are going to get over this offensive line situation that they have. I mean, they got nobody.
I don't think they are.
The only thing that benefits them is who they're playing. You know, they're playing a team that's not going to push them around the field.
I don't know. I mean, I couldn't imagine why anybody would actually feel confident taking either team in that game. I mean, that's a game where I'm like, I'm not touching that game with those two teams. Even though they're both winning teams, they both have tremendous amount of flaws right now, whether it's injuries or just being out yardaged and winning games. And it's just, I don't know what to expect in this game. I don't know what you guys think, but I mean, keep in mind the Chargers did make a trade at the deadline. They added a Saint draft pick, a top pick at tackle that had not worked out for them. This kid Penning. So they added a tackle. So maybe a change of scenery. I don't know, but that's it. That's all the Chargers were able to do because nobody trades offensive tackles. So unless it's a player like that.
Let me say this. Of all the matchups in the NFL card this week, and I'm talking now out of my midweek alert statistical newsletter where we just crunch the numbers, this is the one mismatch game from an in the stats standpoint. The Chargers have been beat in the yards only one time this year. Pittsburgh has won the stats only one time this year. You got the best against the worst going head to head in a football game like this. The price is in a winnable range for the Chargers here. I'll leave it there at that.
And of course,
all true. And they and Herbert keeps getting hit. And Herbert is definitely the better of the two quarterbacks. You can't argue about the.
Yes.
I mean, the coaching is let's say it's equal. I mean, they've both been around a long time. They're both great coaches, different but great. It's very difficult. After the Pittsburgh game against the Colts, it was very confusing because Pittsburgh had no defense until that game. Now, did they cause all those turnovers, or did the Colts cause all their own turnovers in that game?
Yeah, that's the thing we don't know. Are you guys surprised? Because I was, and then the line moved up. Yeah. I was really surprised, not in this game, but the Bears-Giant game. I was really surprised that the Bears started out only as a 3.5-point home favorite against the Giants.
Well, there is a weather issue in that game as well, as far as I know. I mean, it's going to be rainy and windy. I don't know how bad that is because when you start doing that ahead of time, you always get the curveball thrown at you and it changes. But it's supposed to be rainy and windy. I don't feel comfortable laying points with a team that's predominantly like the Panthers, predominantly dogs or losing teams. It's very hard for me to lay points with them, but somebody's laying points with them.
Well, you know, you take a look and break their schedule down here. They got out to that slow start with Ben Johnson. They lost their first two games, but they've been on a major run since then. They've only lost once. And since their bye week, since they come back off their bye week, they've out-yarded everybody they've played. They've won the way they're supposed to do it, have the Bears. They may not be getting enough credit right now at this stage and point of the season. My concern is if they rub the Giants out this week, are they going to then become overpriced because everybody's recognizing this, seeing how well they're playing, and suddenly we've got to add a few points or two to this football team. I'll leave with this thought in mind, though, I'll repeat, I don't question the lines in the games because that's the odds maker does the best. He does that better than I do, Greg, you do, Jim, you do. That's what he does for a living. He sets the lines, and he's a great handicapper, the odds maker. I call him odds maker. They're collectively odds makers. I never questioned the line they put out there. I just handicapped that line.
Well, in this case, he made it 3. He or she or it made it 3. And then the money came in and made it 4.5.
Right.
So that's that. And it's not Square Joe's betting early in the week to do that. That's Vegas money. That's big money moving the line across the board. So who is Chicago beaten? And have they been a favorite in many of those games?
Well, that's a great point you bring. They just beat Cincinnati. They beat New Orleans. They beat Washington. They beat Vegas. And they beat Dallas. That's not Murderer's Row.
all bad teams.
Yes.
All bad teams.
But they're playing a bad team.
Yeah. But when you look at Jackson Dart looks like he could be a player. He has
the problem I have, Jim, with that, though, this week is the last couple of weeks, you look at the Giants have been completely different when they've lost these games. No Scatterboo. They've been playing all the season without Neighbors. it's now getting to a point where it's just too much. The kid's still a rookie, and you can't. Now you've lost. I mean, when Scadaboo plays for you, as we see with Arizona State, he becomes such a big part of your team. He's that type of a player, and now he's gone.
Didn't you just know when they drafted him he was going to be a rock solid draft pick?
Yeah.
I mean, my goodness,
That's
he
the
just
kind of player he is.
in college football, right?
And I mean, they got a great future.
Before we sign off, anybody have? I'm having a computer issue here.
Okay.
Let's look at the weather.
Okay.
Let's take a look at the weather.
Yeah, the weather. There is one big weather game I was going to talk about, but I'll pop it up on the screen, Jim, as you if you want to talk about it.
I've got it right here. Chance of snow, 15 miles an hour wind. This is Chicago.
Yeah, the Midwest is getting hit. Yes.
And the gusts 23 miles an hour. So now you have a Chicago team playing in weather,
but they can run the football, and the Giants have a really bad run defense. So I would expect they're just going to run the ball as much as they can.
Is this the big weather game you were talking about?
No, actually, not. I wouldn't. It's not a big weather game, but they say that there is definite rain for the Jets and the Browns.
Oh,
what a surprise!
We can make that game 0-0 because they're not scoring points anyway.
What a surprise! Jets Cleveland. You're gonna the first scene you're gonna see is gonna be gloomy and raining.
That has to be the team that kicks the last field goal wins the game.
Oh my Lord! Yeah. Other than that, there's a chance of rain for Seattle, chance of rain for Washington, and it looks like that's it. Looks like that Chicago game might have the worst possible weather with the chance of snow with that wind.
So the weather will affect these teams how?
Well, you tell me. I mean, again, I think one of the things that I think we have to realize sometimes in the snow is that
excuse me, I'm losing my voice. Which team is going to be affected the most by the weather?
Actually, this week, I don't see.
I mean, the Bears or the Giants?
Oh,
well, in the Windy City, it would be the Giants. You got to figure the Bears are a bit more acclimated to it. You would think so.
And honestly, when I look at the Giants' offense right now, with no Neighbors and no Scadaboo, I'm like, even without the weather, how are they moving the football? I mean, I just
where did Jackson Dart play college ball?
Mississippi.
Okay, is he from the South? He's from warmer weather period.
I think he's from California. Let me check that out.
Well, that's going to be Bears now. Yeah, the Bears have a big advantage.
Well, let me check it out. I'm not for sure, but let me check it out. But yeah, I mean, even no matter what the case is, the fact is, again, this Giant team is just so depleted. And the one thing that if you're a Giant fan is the fact that next year you're going to start the season with hopefully your franchise quarterback. If you think you found him, you got Scadaboo, you got Neighbors, maybe the best receiver in the world in the NFL, and you're going to have a new head coach. So the question next is who is going to take over as the head coach of the New York Giants, because this is an attractive job now. You're in New York. You've got a quarterback, which is 90% of the issue when you're trying to find a team to be a coach on. Oh, I've got Jackson Dart there. Okay, I'll go there. I got Neighbors. I got Scadaboo.
Yeah, Garrett Wilson, right?
And we know how easy it is to find good head coaches, right?
How easy it is.
By the way, Jackson Dart was born in he was a West Coast guy, but not California. He's from Utah, so he shouldn't have a problem dealing with cold weather in that respect.
Utah gets some weather. That's
but yeah. And the Giants have a good front defense. You know, some good players up front. Burns, Lawrence. Hey, maybe they should contact John Gruden, because I still can't believe John Gruden is not in the. This just shows you how bad the NFL is that one of their great personalities that can help them market the sport. Everybody loves John Gruden personality. and he's still not even a coach in the NFL
Somehow he's got himself on the blacklist.
I don't like him as a person personally. I think he's a human public relations machine for himself. Everything he talks about is what he does. And then he got himself into the controversy that he did, couldn't talk himself out of it, got suspended. I just think there's too many black marks out there about John Gruden, and that's the reason he's not coaching in the NFL today. Personally.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
I think you're right. Yeah.
We'll see who else is out there. But it's going to be a good job. And it's definitely one of the jobs that I think the Giants are going to be very fortunate to be able to get someone. Oh, by the way, the Bears are 9-3-2 against the spread as a home favorite in their last 14 games, 1-0 in that role this year. That's kind of weird. 9-3-2. Before I let you go, Jim, do you have like a pick of the week you want to give us in any way, shape, or form?
Oh, let's see. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Vikings. I think I'm not downgrading the Ravens at all, but coming off the bye and coming off the win they had last week, I'm not going to upgrade them. They still have defensive deficiencies. The better roster is Vikings. They're playing at home, getting 4.5 points.
A better coach?
Yeah. Well, most likely because I think John has slipped up over the years. Yes. Right. Yeah. He definitely leads the league in fourth quarter losses with double-digit leads. I don't know how you do that. But, yeah, I like the Vikings. I don't know what to say about J.J. McCarthy. He has not proven himself yet. He's a kid. He hasn't played much. He was okay last week. And I think he's going to be really good. But right now, I think he's a work in progress, It's hard to do. And definitely quarterback to quarterback, who the better quarterback is. So that's a tough one, but I like the dog.
Yeah, that's why it was so important. I mean, they couldn't have won the game last week against Detroit because of McCarthy. They needed him to play well. Don't play badly. Just play okay. But that defense really won that football game last week.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And we still don't know. And again, as I mentioned this, and don't forget, you can check out the link in the description of this video because we have several other games that we talked about on the Playbook ATS podcast. That was the show, of course, we do every Thursday. Andy Isco joins us. And so we talked about the Viking game in depth and several other games. And I mentioned the Aaron Jones injury. So there's still no update on Aaron Jones. He's questionable for the game. And I still think that is a big deal. He looked so good early on in that game against Detroit until he got hurt. So that's a big difference. They need that running back element in the backfield that they have not had for about a month.
I got a fun question. I mean, no, you don't want to answer it. You don't have to. Who's going to win the Super Bowl?
That is a fun question. Okay.
I mean, we're halfway through the season. I mean,
there's not a hands down answer to that, Jim. I don't believe. I think the league is just they're evaluating one. I don't think there's a clear cut Super Bowl favorite, is there?
Well, no. You can look at the odds and say there's a favorite, but the feel wise to me, oh boy. Like you said, it's a bitch.
Well, if you start from the standpoint that the NFC has dominated the AFC this year, and will it continue? If it does, do you go to the NFC and look for the winner coming from there?
It would be the Rams.
The Rams?
Yeah, it would be the Rams.
Well, maybe just at this point, you look at it the same way we would look at a week-to-week basis, and that is take value, because you just have to think, if everything goes well, do you believe in that team to win a Super Bowl? And the Bucs are still 20-1. Moving along here.
But they're never healthy. That's the problem.
Well, the thing is, though, is as we said, they're not getting healthier the rest of the season. So what you're betting on is, what if they got these big games coming up, as I said, Buffalo Rams road games, Patriots Sunday. If they go 2-1 in that spot, then I think they've proven that if they can do that with the cast of characters they have now, then they could go far. And I'm willing to bet that at 20-1. Again, that's 20-1. It's not 10-1. It's not 6-1. I think it's a decent wager.
Well, I have the Bucks from the beginning, from the get-go.
Yeah.
But I never expected all these damn injuries, and they're definitely not shaping up as a healthier team. They should get to the playoffs unless Atlanta overtakes them. And if you get in the playoffs, it can happen. It could be the Eagles. They could repeat.
And we even talked about the Lions, who will be a factor at some point.
What happened to the Lions last week with their offensive line looking so terrible?
I think that's the same question that Campbell's asking himself. Usually this football team has been very, very dependable. They played when they were supposed to play. Usually they didn't when they weren't supposed to play. They were supposed to play last week. They no-showed in the contest. I think you're going to see them kick butt this weekend with the playoff revenge, off the loss, yada, yada, yada. And if they do, the odds we're seeing right now on the screen that Greg's showing here, what are the Lions right now, Greg?
Rams 9. Are 7. But they're playing Washington, so
Rams are 7.5. Lions are 9-1.
Yeah, maybe at 9-1. Maybe that won't change much. But next week, Detroit at Philadelphia.
Well, that'll say a lot. That'll say a lot.
Yeah, that'll change the odds.
Yep.
But Philadelphia has a grinder. They're playing that Packers, and then they got to play the Lions. Wow,
that's pretty strong. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, they have that Super Bowl schedule.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to get healthy as well. We don't know still about A.J. Brown, Saquon Barkley, so we're going to keep your eye on those guys. I haven't heard anything about them not playing. Let me see quickly if anything happened on Friday. Let's see. Nope, it looks like everybody's okay. So it looks like they're going to get back Barkley, A.J. Brown, and they're fine. So they're as healthy as they're going to be, the Eagles. And they made a couple of deals at the deadline. So
they do have a good general manager, that's for sure.
Yeah, he can wheel and deal with the best of them, can he? Wow.
He makes moves.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, he really does.
Before I let you go, Jim, I know this is a college football thing, but I don't know if did you guys happen to catch the Bill O'Brien press conference?
I did not.
Okay. So let's actually, I'm going to have to make sure I get sound in here. So this took place earlier this week. They're playing SMU this week. It's been a bad year for the BC Eagles with one win this season. Not going well. So let's see what happened here.
For the fans, obviously losing to Notre Dame, Catholic school rival, 1-8 now in the season BC. I've heard from a lot of fans. They're just really
I'm really glad. I'm glad you're down. I'm not down. Nobody's down. We're fighting. We're competing. It's the second year of this program, Mike. You always come in here with these down questions. Like you show up like once a month or something like that. You come in here with these down questions. I'm not down. I don't know what year you graduated from BC, but this is a program that we're building. Nobody here's down. We're positive. We're going to show up and play our asses off against SMU. You can go out there in your dark, clouded world or whatever it is and do what you want to do. We're not down. The sun is up and we're fighting. That's my message to the fans. What's up, Trevor?
I love it. He's defending his
team.
He's defending his situation. I love it.
But the truth is, they are down. He was 7-6 last year. He's got one win this year. So I think the reporter's just doing his job personally.
So that'll get your team fired up, though. So
he answers like that from the head coach too.
Yeah. So and it's good if you're a BC fan. I guess it all depends on whether or not you're pro Bill O'Brien or not. If you're pro Bill O'Brien, you're like, all right, I have hope. But if you're against Bill O'Brien, you're like, oh, just just get out of here. I fire this guy. But the Bill O'Brien, remember just a short while ago, wasn't he that one of the hot coaching candidates around? And
he's bounced around. Yeah.
And I'm sure like any team that is struggling, all you have to look at with all the struggling teams in college football are the ones that don't have the money yet. They're having a hard time raising the funds to pay the players. It's easy. It's black and white to see. And that's the thing that you have to, that's why I'm sure that's what Boston College is doing right now. They're probably hiring new people to come in and they're trying to raise as much money as possible to pay these players because you look at their roster and there's nobody on the NIL that they were able to bring in that's a difference maker, and that's why they got one win.
Speaking of which, guys, a feature point in the Weekend Coffee Club this week is about the Texas Tech football program and why it is what it is. And I tweeted it, or I X'd it this morning too, so you can read it on X to find out exactly why Texas Tech is where they are. And when you read it, your jaw is going to drop because of all the money there.
Really?
Oh, unbelievable. The richest oil guy in the country is behind this team, okay? And just writes blank checks, just writes blank checks.
How much? How much, Mark?
I heard, I got to go reread the story, okay? But I heard he's put like $60 million in the team this year, okay? This year. And if you want more, come in for more.
That's amazing.
Yes, it is, right?
And that's why you're seeing all these coaches, these really good coaches, getting fired. It doesn't matter how big their contracts are. Oh, I gotta buy him out at 60 million or 80 million. No problem. Here, write a check. Get him out of there, because they don't have patience for these guys anymore. I mean, look at Brian Kelly. I'm not saying he did a great job, but still, look at his record. He hasn't done anything wrong. It's just that he's not winning championships. He's not winning. He's not getting the team to the playoffs. All right, that's enough. Bring another guy in.
John Putnam just wrote 49 million on our comments.
49 million. Okay, I said 60. Okay. You can read it at Mark Lawrence, by the way, on X. But go ahead. I'm sorry, Jim.
Wow, where does this stop?
It doesn't. They just have to rein it in a way where they have to police it more, and that's what they're working on. So it's going to take them a couple of years. So this is going to go on now for another year or two until they reel it in and find a way to make it a little bit more, easier to handle, because it's a crazy Wild West show that's going on right now.
You ever close your eyes at night right before you go to sleep and say, "Damn, the whole world, everything in this whole world is a mess. It's out of control." It just feels that way.
I don't think anybody could argue with you, Jim. I don't think anybody could.
Unbelievable.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
All right, Jim. So appreciate you getting up real early in the morning.
Well, I'm up every day, 5:30, 6 o'clock. That doesn't mean I'm ready to go to work at 5:30, 6 o'clock, but I'm up.
But you did a good job today, Jim. Up nice and early. And a reminder, it's your turn to walk the dogs. Roz did it this morning, okay?
Well, I'll tell you what. Here's the problem. Roz is a little bit younger than me, and we have a couple boxers. One is 55 pounds. He's not the problem. We have a 90-pound boxer, and he's not fat.
Oh boy, that's all muscle, huh?
So, I'm strong enough to hold him, but when they take off and together, you got 150 pounds. A little bit. It's a tough problem.
Do they listen
pretty well? But if they see a rabbit or a fox, and we've got coyotes here, and
they're gone.
Well, they're on the leash, but then I'm on the other end of the leash, and they're dragging me.
It might be time for a dog walker, Jim.
Well, that's Roz. Thanks, guys.
All right, Jimmy, have a great weekend. Tell Roz we said hey, okay?
You too. Thank you.
Be well. Bye-bye.
Colleen, say Greg.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, Jim Feist, jimfeist.com. We'll do it all again next week. Still have a college football segment to wrap up here. Actually, to even get started with. So let's go ahead and do that, Mark, because as we're starting to get late in the season, and it's late in the season when the college football rankings, the playoff rankings, officially come out for the first time. So we're getting to serious point now in college football. Let's see. Let's pop up the standings, and then we can go through what's happening. So here you got the SEC, and with Vanderbilt's loss last week to Texas, Oklahoma also has 2 losses. Very unlikely that either of those teams will be in the SEC championship game. So they're now just fighting to see if they can get into the playoffs, which I think if you're an SEC team with 2 losses, even though you don't make the SEC championship game, you have a pretty decent chance of getting to the playoffs. So you just got to win out, though. So the 5 teams that have a chance for the championship are right here with A&M and Alabama as still the lone undefeated teams. We talked about the Georgia-Mississippi State game, the Texas A&M game as well. Auburn has a new coach. So Hugh Freeze is out. And, the defensive coordinator, DJ Durkin, is going to get an opportunity because if he can win out, they got Vanderbilt this week, but if he can win out, beat Alabama, he's going to have a good chance to get that job, especially if he beat Alabama at the end of the season. But if he doesn't get the job, there are some other really good coaching candidates out there because Auburn's got money and they've got prestige, and that's going to be a good job. And there are some really good candidates that are out there. So that's going to be a real good, interesting game because, again, Vandy cannot afford the loss. And then you got the LSU-Alabama game, which is going to be late at night. And out of all those games, I really do like Alabama. I think LSU is kind of toast. I think Alabama has been a great home favorite this year. And really if you look at it for, I think the last, 4 or 5 years since 2020, they're 24-7-1 as a home favorite. And they're 4-0 in that bowl this year. I don't think LSU, maybe they give them a half, maybe. But talent-wise, that's the problem that Kelly couldn't fix. And I don't see how firing Kelly is going to all of a sudden do anything except maybe light a fire for a little bit for LSU. And then when it's all said and done, late in the game, I think Alabama will have no problem winning and covering that spread. But
those numbers you mentioned, Greg, those numbers were largely put up the bulk of by Nick Saban, but they've continued under Kalen DeBoer. He's also picked up his end of the of the freight. So they are a very, very good team, point spread wise as well. They're sort of the one team I think that's, if you can call them under the radar in the college football playoff, they might be the team that's under the radar. Only that one loss this football season here. They win the Southeast Conference Championship. They're going to be a 1 or 2 seed come the college football playoffs. Okay,
moving on. The Big Ten. And it's looking like more than likely we are going to get a Indiana-Ohio State undefeated matchup. The only way we don't get that is if there's a big upset on Saturday with Penn State and Indiana, or if Michigan is able to keep their winning streak alive against Ohio State. Otherwise, it's looking like those two teams, collision course, championship game, and that'd be fine by me. I'd love to see that in a way. If, of course, I'm hoping Michigan wins as usual against Ohio State, but that'd be a really nice matchup. And then if there's a hiccup, though, those are the 4 teams: USC, Michigan, Oregon, and Iowa that are still in the hunt. And Oregon playing Iowa. That's the big game coming up. Teams. Yeah, what do you think about that? I was on the.
I'm sorry? I don't know if you lost me or I lost you, Greg. But I'm going to continue this just in case it's I lost you. Greg was talking about the college football Big Ten games that are going on right now. And let's see if we have Greg here. Guys, I'm going to come right back in, log in, stay right there, please. Test, test, test. Okay, it does appear we did lose Greg. It wasn't me. It looks like Greg's having a few production problems here. But let's pick up the conversation with him as he's talking about the Big Ten Conference. And personally, you mentioned Southern Cal, mentioned Michigan and Oregon, but the big question was Oregon and Iowa today. So can Iowa hang and stay with Oregon? Oregon looks to be a real powerhouse, but times disappeared. And this Iowa football team is very sneakily good. All you need to do is look at their defensive numbers. They've held 5 opponents to season low yards, and so too has Oregon. So you take those 2 factors and combine them. This might be a little good looking under type total play in this football game. People price the totals for Oregon because of their offense, but it's their defense that's really carrying the freight for them this particular football season here. Let's move on now to another conference that is not a factor inside the college football conference playoff this year, and that's the ACC. And people wonder what on God's green earth has happened to the ACC this football season here. Well, I wonder too. I mean, Clemson's completely folded up. Looks like Gabo Swinney might be his last football season for the year. And it's so bad in the ACC that it's the Virginia Cavaliers that are on top of the conference with 0 conference losses. That's bad because Virginia is not a good football team. I know they look good. You talk about an 8-1 record, but look inside those stats, folks. I mean, they had a string of 5 straight games that they won and lost the yard. That's pathetic. You can't keep doing that, and it'll keep biting you. To me, the team to beat right now is Georgia Tech. Haynes King, their quarterback, I think he's a contender for the Heisman Trophy and should be. Done a terrific job thus far this football season. The other team I would keep an eye on would be Louisville. They're a team that ranks top 10 defensively. Offensively, they got the goods. I like this Louisville football team real well. In fact, I'm going to pit Louisville and Georgia Tech inside the ACC championship game and see exactly what happens. Also, take a look at about the ACC. You're talking about a Duke football team that has come out of nowhere, if you will, under Manny Diaz, and they're still only a half a game out of the conference league. That's a little bit surprising to me. But what I really like, and I know will put a smile on Manny Diaz's face, is the fact that he is sitting a game and a half on top of Miami of Florida in the conference, and that's his former team employer, Miami of Florida. So I got to say, good job, tip of the hat to what they've done there at Duke as far as this football season. But I'm going to put, like I said, Georgia Tech and Louisville in the championship game. Let's go to the Big 12.
I'm back, Mark.
Okay, Greg, there you go. I was discussing the ACC, and I talked a little bit about the Big 10. I was going to go to the Big 12. I'll let you pick it up, okay?
Okay. Let me see. I'm getting a little echo. Let me see. That might be better. Okay. So, we went over the Big 10. So you just concluded the ACC?
Yes, I did. And I put Louisville and Georgia Tech in the championship.
I like that. Yeah, absolutely. Louisville, the one thing keep in mind with Louisville is that their top running back is out this week. That's a little bit of a concern. Good player. But they've got some talent on that team. And Pittsburgh is going to be interesting. They're playing Notre Dame, I think, next week, which could be really fun to watch because all of a sudden that's a game that Notre Dame has got to be a little wary of. Of course, everybody thinking that with their schedule, they should be able to cruise to the playoffs, but that's not going to be easy because Pittsburgh is red hot. They play this true freshman quarterback that they've implemented into their lineup about a month ago, and that kid has just been a godsend for them. They haven't lost since.
Let me say this: Notre Dame had better be wary of Navy today. I know everybody's got them looking past them, 27.5-point favorite. My goodness, can they? How big are they going to win this football game? They're not going to win this football game big. And one of the biggest, strongest handicapper factors there is on the blind. You don't need to know anything. Military teams that are underdogs of 20 or more points are a 70% point spread play for over 100 results. Give the military teams 20 points, sit back, watch, and relax. That's what you got with Navy today against Notre Dame. Navy just comes off their first loss of the season, and they're going to want to enhance their chances for a good college bowl game this year. So don't put Navy into the winner circle quite so soon today.
All right.
Or I should say Notre Dame.
Let's now move on to the Big 12. And as we talked about yesterday, as you see here, there are 3 teams with 1 loss or less. And we talked about that BYU Texas Tech game yesterday, so you can check that out on the Playbook ATS podcast. And then you see Cincinnati is still alive as well. And then all of these 2-loss teams also have potentially a shot, depending. And a lot of it depends if BYU could pull off the upset. Because if BYU could pull off the upset and Texas Tech has 2 losses, then everybody's in it. in a spot for that championship game, and you would think BYU would have a stranglehold, and they would probably be a lock for the championship game. That's how big the game is today in Lubbock. So it'd be a surprise if BYU won the game. Don't get me wrong; it'd still be a surprise. But if it happened, then things are wide open with BYU sitting pretty. And I don't think anybody wants to play Utah in the championship game if they can find a way to get there. The difference is they're a different team when you get them out of the home surroundings. They're really enormously tough there, but they're still a very talented team. And who knows, maybe we'll get a Utah BYU rematch, which could be incredible with the rivalry that those two teams have put together over the years.
That would be a great Big 12 championship game. I think BYU Cincinnati would be a rating bottom feeder.
Yeah, that's for sure. And that would imagine the Holy War in the Big 12 championship game. That could be something. Okay, so moving on. And they had a big game last night in the AAC with Tulane beating Memphis. And Memphis goes from being the number one team in the playoffs, representing the group of five, to being all the way down here. They're now sixth in the standings in the AAC after losing. Yes. So that is a devastating loss for Memphis. And now you've got a situation where you take a look at the rest of the teams that are sitting there with one loss, and it opens things up once again for South Florida, who had lost to Memphis. There's Navy. Navy's got a murderous schedule, even after Notre Dame. North Texas, though, North Texas is feeling pretty good about themselves, because if you take a look at their schedule, it's really pretty solid. They have the easiest schedule out of all the other teams in the AAC. So I think they're feeling pretty good today about what happened there. That opens things up for them. But who knows? I mean, Tulane is still there as well, following. And Tulane's schedule is also pretty their toughest game, Tulane, the rest of the season will be at Temple. That's their toughest game. So Tulane's also in a pretty good situation. Memphis is at East Carolina next week, so that's another important game in the AAC. But I've been on South Florida all season. I'm not going to change now that Memphis, of course, opened the door for them. So I think we'd all like to see South Florida, Tulane, or North Texas matchup. I think that would be. I prefer South Florida Tulane, because South Florida just, they already destroyed North Texas, so I don't want to see that rematch. I think a South Florida Tulane championship game would be nice.
That'd be most deserving, unquestionably. You can say Navy if they can continue to keep winning, and they can control their own fate. Navy can, but they've got a really tough road to hoe there, as you mentioned. But I think the best matchup would be, indeed, as you mentioned, South Florida and Tulane. Yeah,
next week Navy hosts South Florida, and then they're at Memphis, and then they play Army. So that's a tough schedule for Navy. It's going to be hard for them.
Here, I'll paint the picture for you, Greg. Navy wins the next two football games, goes into the Army-Navy game, lays 14 points, and gets beat.
Yeah, it could happen. No doubt.
Yep.
So a lot of crazy things could happen here. And you know what also could happen? If all these teams beat each other up, it opens the door for James Madison to represent the group
probably
of five.
The team that they don't want in there. They're cooking.
Oh, yeah. They're blowing everybody out in the Sun Belt. And we'll see. Marshall's a good opponent, but so I think it's another good test to see if they can keep blowing teams out. And that's the ticket. That they understand that they have to keep blowing teams out. They got to keep showing everybody that, hey, our only loss all season was a competitive loss to Louisville. And the more Louisville keeps winning, and let's say they do wind up winning the AAC or playing in the ACC championship game, that'd be a nice feather on their cap for James Madison.
Here's what I'm going to tell you about James Madison, Greg, how good this football team is. Only one loss this year. That was to Louisville by 1 yard. That's the only game they've lost in the stats, by the way, by 1 yard. They've held 5 opponents to season-low yardage marks. And like we mentioned, they are cooking. They've scored 115 points in the last 2 football games. I'd love to see this football team in the college football playoff.
And they've shut out their last 4 opponents in the second half.
Wow.
So They're taking care of business there. They're a 13.5-point favorite in this one. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, James Madison's looking good. Now, look, if Coastal can somehow hang on, James Madison will play Coastal in the last game of the season. So, but Coastal's got no chance with James Madison. And I don't even think Coastal's going to get there with one loss. I think they might even get upset on Saturday. As far as the West, huge matchup today. Southern Miss and Arkansas State. The two top teams in the West going at it at Arkansas State. Butch Jones has got the Red Wolves having a nice run. They had a big upset win over Troy last week. I actually think they're a pretty good play. They're a 4.5-point home dog in that one. And Troy is still sitting there hoping, I guess, that Arkansas State loses since they've already lost that matchup. Southern Miss plays Troy, I believe, on the final game of the season as well. So that there's a lot of stuff that could still happen in the Sun Belt, but James Madison looks unstoppable.
Yeah, they're going to be the favorite in the championship game, regardless who comes out of the West. And hopefully, like we're saying here, make themselves a path into the college football playoff.
I got a good one for you, too, from the Playbook football magazine. Georgia State and Coastal. So Georgia State's only 1-7. Coastal, as you mentioned, you see there, 4-1 in the in the conference. It's the first favorite role of the season. They were 7-point favorite. Coastal is. The road team has covered 8 straight in the series, and Georgia State is 4-0, straight up and against the spread in their last 4 trips to Coastal Carolina, and 3 of those games they were the dog. So,
wow.
Keep an
normally you'd be saying Coastal playing down to their level with all that history there to Georgia State. The thing I don't like is the fact they're only 1 game back at Jimmy Mad.
Yeah, Coastal, the thing is they're riding on the old reputation. It's not the same Coastal team.
Right.
They don't have the same players. That's why I said I wouldn't be surprised if they got upset on Saturday. I think they've been very fortunate to be in this position at this point. All right, that's the Sun Belt. And then the Mountain West also has a lot to play for because San Diego State, I've been really high on this team most of the season after just watching their defense dominate. I mean, this is one of the most impressive defensive teams in college football, and they happen to be in a conference that, I mean, look at that. They got 41 points against all season. Look at all these hundreds in there, and they got 41. That shows you how dominating their defense is, but they have a tough matchup coming up late tonight at Hawaii, and that's going to be, I think, a game that could trip them up. And even if they trips them up, I don't think there's any – look, San Diego State will find their way in the championship game. They're playing too well. They're going to be playing Boise State at home next week. But Boise State might be down their quarterback. Their starting quarterback got hurt early in the Fresno State game last week. They got blown out by Fresno State. And there's word he might not even be back for a few weeks. So without their quarterback, I think Boise State has no chance.
Well, either way, Greg, next week's game between San Diego State and Boise will be for first place in the Mountain West Conference. Whether they win or lose tonight, it's still going to be the winner of that game will be in first place.
Yes. And you take a look at Hawaii, 19-5 against the spread in their last 24 rolls as a home dog.
Timmy Chang.
And they're 2-0 this year in that roll.
Wow.
So keep an eye
on my team, Hawaii, Greg. They bring one denominator to the table that only one other team does, and they're the one of only 2 teams in college football that have brought back 17 returning starters 2 years in a row. And it's really, really beginning to produce for Hawaii this year. A lot of experience, a lot of depth, and that's why we're seeing this resurgence from Hawaii this season.
Yeah, and they've outgained, I believe, every team they played this year except one team. So it's no smoke and mirrors of how they're playing.
No, exactly. And we call that putting on the spats. And what you do is if you go into the month of November and you've out-yarded every opponent you've played, or all but one, and you're an underdog, it's an automatic play on. And that's what Hawaii is in this game. Yeah,
let me check. Let me see if last week, let me just double check that because I know they lost.
Greg, I got to take that back. Hawaii just got beat pretty good in the stats.
Yes, last week.
Yes.
Yeah, I was just going to double check that because, San Jose State beat them up. But that was the second game that they've been outgained all year, just 2. So that's still impressive out of 9 games. So they're 7-2 in the stats. Hawaii is. So that's still really. And speaking of San Jose State, they're all the way down here at 2-2, but beware. I put a few bucks on them at 33-1 to win the Mountain West. And the reason is they were predicted before the season began. There was a lot expected from this team this season. A lot of people thought they'd be a Mountain West championship type team, and they got off to a slow start. But they had to win last week. And you see they put up over 600 yards offense against Hawaii. This team is for real. And I looked at the schedules, and I looked at all these schedules here. And keep in mind that even though they're all the way down here, they're really up here because they all have 2 losses. So don't let this make you look like they're, 8th place. Okay. So, and if Boise State winds up having their quarterback out, and let's say they lose to San Diego State next week, they also have 2 losses. All they have to do is get to the championship game. So if Boise State loses next week, all of these teams have 2 losses, and I think they might have a chance to get there. So at 33-1 to win the Mountain West championship, I think it's worth it to throw a few bucks on San Jose State.
I don't disagree. This football team is more than capable, and the division is wide open. The conference is wide open. You ask me, my team, to win a conference championship that's in 3rd or worse place in their conference, the answer is, it sounds like it's repetitive, but it's Louisville in the ACC.
Yep.
Won the yards in every game they played. They beat Clemson at home, or they got Clemson at home next week. Their third was at plus 325 behind Duke and Georgia Tech to win the ACC. I think they're head and shoulders the best team in the conference.
Yeah, let's see where they are. I think they're probably a short number. Yeah, they're almost 4-1.
Yeah, there you go. And they're behind Duke and Georgia Tech, I believe.
What the heck is Duke doing up here? Okay. Yeah, I don't know why Duke would be there. I mean, I know that it's record-wise, but their defense, it's not going to be Duke. Okay, interesting. Okay, and then wrapping it up, just because those are the main conferences. You got the MAC, and Ohio, Miami had the big rematch. Still wide open in the MAC, but no team that is going to, of course, represent. Just like the Conference USA, Kennesaw State has had a magical season. What a great job Chris Mack has done as the head coach. Where they were last year, they were just awful last year. They couldn't score. I don't even know what they have, like 1 win or something like that.
Yeah.
And now right now they're playing like the best team in the Conference USA. Don't count out Liberty. Liberty is starting to play better, and they were the preseason favorites. But this is a nice story, Kennesaw State.
Very nice. Very nice.
All right. So that is that. Want to let everybody know as far as our upset picks this week. So there are several that I have in the single-digit upsets. I already mentioned Georgia State and Hawaii and Iowa. We talked about those 3. We mentioned Mississippi State yesterday and Missouri. And then the other team is Nevada. I think Nevada's got an upset in them this year. And that's a team, as I've said many times before on my Tuesday show, that they have 9 losses by 7 or less under their second-year head coach, Jeff Choate, and have only 1 game lost in the yards this year by more than 100 since the week 1 loss to Penn State. And I say that because of the fact they're a 1-7 team. So people might look at 1-7. They probably get beat up a lot. No, they don't get beat up a lot. The yards are close enough that they're in these games, and sooner or later they're going to upset somebody. So that's why I'm going to take a chance with Nevada. And what do you think about single-digit upsets that we haven't talked about already?
Well, there's one I like is Iowa State against TCU. Amazingly, this is an Iowa State football team that has lost 3, or maybe it's not 4.
4 straight.
What's that?
4 straight.
4 straight, Greg. The last 3, all as a favorite. Okay, so now they're going to change clothes. They're going to go the dog in this football this contest here. This is a game that Matt Campbell needs like blood. He's a terrific dog in the conference, 30-13, 19-5 when you get 5 or more. I think this is a spot that they step up this week. Iowa State, I think, beats TCU.
TCU still in the running they're one of those 2-loss teams, I believe, in the Big 12. Iowa State has one more win for bowl eligibility. They will be on a bye next week. TCU will be at BYU next week. So that'd be a major game to keep an eye on. And then double-digit upsets. I'm going to go with 2 games, and that's going to be Boston College. I'm taking Bill O'Brien and the Eagles to upset SMU. Don't forget, SMU was upset a couple of weeks ago by Wake Forest. And Boston College has actually been playing better the last couple of weeks. So that's why I'm going to go ahead and maybe roll it there with Boston College. And I'm going to also roll it with believe it or not, with Cal against that Louisville team. And the only reason I'm doing it is because I think 20 points is way too high. I'm kind of shocked that they're getting 20 in that one. As good as Louisville is, Cal has been a very solid team this season. They're 5-4, and Louisville, by the way, 0-4 against the spread as a home favorite this year. So if anything, that's a lot of points. If you want to take Cal on the 21, whatever it is, I think you should do that. But I think the money line is like 8-1 or something. And so I'm gonna just take the chance and see if anything happens there. I know it'll be a hard one with as good as Louisville's playing. Do you have any double-digit upset picks?
Well, I'll give you one double-digit upset. I've been harping about this team, and don't be surprised if Navy pulls the rug on Notre Dame.
Oh no!
There we go. Navy pulls the rug on Notre Dame. I told you those dogs of 20 or more. They're 38-15-1 is what they are. And that's the role they'll be in this particular spot here. That'll be my double digit. But if we go to a single digit dog, I'm going to look at Auburn to pull the rug here this week as well. I think they're going to come and play this game for the Gipper. They really, really like Hugh Freeze, if you will. And I see Vanderbilt, the football team, regressing now. They've really, really played well. They've climbed the mountain. All of a sudden, they've found the world of defeat. And they're laying points to a team that they haven't laid points to since 1978. 18 games in a row, Auburn's been the favorite in the series. I call that dominating Auburn actually doing it again. Auburn in the upset.
Yeah, that one is, I believe it is, about a 6-7 point line. It's homecoming for the Commodores. And how about this one? Vanderbilt has lost 9 straight times before a bye week.
Wow.
And they're 0-1 this year. And they've only lost twice on the season.
There you go.
Yeah. Auburn,
more
2-0-1 against the spread as a road dog this year. And 3-0-1 against the spread on the road this year. So Auburn's been playing much better on the road than they have at home.
Yes, they have.
All right, so there you go. That's going to wrap it up for our Saturday game day edition of our ProLine Pigskin Fridays show. So I guess we'll be back again on Friday next week. Who knows? I don't know. I know John's asking his question. Do you know if it's the Berlin game?
It is the Berlin. Oh, if it's grass or
if it's
turf.
on turf or
all I know
grass.
is this is the first NFL game ever in Berlin. I don't know what the stadium honestly is there.
Usually it should be, I would think it's grass, but I don't know.
Unless they play soccer there, and if they play soccer in that stadium, then it would be artificial.
Let's see. The Berlin uses both natural and artificial turf.
So, a combination?
I don't know. It's I don't know how they do that. It says artificial turf. Yeah, it says unless it's like a hybrid kind of deal. So, yeah. But who knows also if it's going to be, I don't know what the weather's going to be like, because if it's a grass field, it would not be surprising if there was a weather issue in Germany at this time of year. It's still considered the winter at this time of year in Germany, or are they in the, they're not in that they're on the same, aren't they? Same hemisphere. with the.
All I know, Greg, is at some point in that game, we're going to hear that German crowd singing "Take Me Home, Country Roads." That is, to me, gives me goosebumps. Okay, Germans singing English words in a country western song, "Take Me Home," and they're doing it, waving back and forth.
And when
That's
does that
the highlight
happen?
of the game. I'm sorry.
Does that happen before the game,
During the
halftime?
game. During the game,
Oh, they just at any point.
they break into "Take Me Home, Country Roads."
So you just got to wait until they do it.
Wait till they do it. Exactly.
Okay. You know, the TV. If the networks were smart, they'd leave like $5 on every seat and say, hey, just make sure you take this $5 as a down payment to not sing the song until the fourth quarter.
Yeah, don't begin singing until the fourth quarter.
Yes, you got to milk this. So people will, because the blowout, people are going to turn off the TVs and they're not going to get it. So, all right. Anyway,
also, Greg, for shout out to us appreciating the show, like having you on board as well, Ronnie. Thank you.
And don't forget to the other shows that are on the channel. We've got Jim and Andy. They do that usually on Thursdays. It was Friday this week. So you can check that out, as well as Victor and Jim. That show has already been posted as well. So you have both of those shows. I mean, they talk teasers, totals, props, all sorts of really cool things. So check it out every week with Andy Iskoe and Victor King. And we'll be back next week for an all-new week as we hit Week 11 in the NFL and Week 12 in college football. So, Mark, appreciate it as always. It's a Saturday, only an hour and 10 minutes away from kickoff.
You can look at it that way, or you can say it's also only 26 hours until "Take Me Home, Country Road."
Okay, all right, there you go.
Or less.
Somebody's really stoked about that.
Eastern, yes.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a
Don't
good
forget
day.
to
Thank you.
subscribe, like, and share. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.